If you hadn't guessed it, we're going to be talking all about March Madness today. All about it, and watching and reacting to some of the games live right now. We'll get to them in just a second, but I'm your host, Nolan Kapodlowski, joined by Alex Lazzarini, our sports journalism spotlight today on Mason Rake. And then in the fishbowl, we got Zach and the other Mason. So
Mason squared.
Yeah, exactly, right? We got two of the Masons in here today, and it should be a great show. A lot of fun. We are ready for it. How are we all feeling, guys? Spring break is just about started.
Rested.
March Madness.
Rested.
Yeah.
Feeling great while watching this Oregon game right now.
Yeah, right. I mean, Oregon is looking good. Looking good right now. 13-point lead. Feel very solid having picked them. But again, we'll get to that all in a second. But yeah, I mean, let's get right into it. And we're going to jump into our Warhawk Thought today. Kind of saving the obscure sports for when we get back from break for those to resume. But for our Warhawk Thought today, just kind of wanted to break down everybody's bracket, because on the Thursday show here, we did not get to pick a bracket specifically here, but I'm sure we all filled one out. So who did you guys have as your Final Four contenders? Who did you have as your champions? I just kind of want to hear your rationale for picking who you guys thought was going to win. Has your bracket already been busted? We'll start with Alex. Alex, how is your bracket doing first and foremost?
Still perfect bracket.
Whoa,
Still a perfect
okay.
bracket. I know.
You picked Duquesne, huh?
I did. I wasn't going to, but I was convinced.
Hey, you were convinced right, I guess.
I was convinced on Tuesday. Never even heard of that school before Tuesday. And Chris Pittner and the rest of the Tuesday gang, they converted me.
Man, I thought the Mormons were gonna just absolutely go crazy. I had them going to the Elite Eight, so BYU losing hurt. But hey, props to you. Hopefully, Warren Buffett's offering like $1 billion or whatever it is to a person who gets a perfect bracket. So you're still on track for that.
Yeah.
Are you going to share? That's the question. Are you going to share if you win that?
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Yeah, for sure.
At least with your host.
I had UConn in my Final Four, Arizona in my Final Four, Houston for the second year in a row. Please, Houston, do not let me down again. And then Tennessee.
Okay. So relatively chalk, but a couple of 2 seeds, a couple of 1 seeds in there. What was your kind of rationale for picking?
I was doing a lot of research over the past couple of days, just looking at stats, who they've played, stuff like that. And I think also while I was picking my bracket, they have little info on all the teams.
Mm-hmm.
So that's another big thing that helped.
That those little tidbits helped you, those stats?
I sure hope so.
Hey, to this point, I guess. Who was your champion?
Houston, again.
Houston, was it? Okay.
Again.
Over UConn?
Oh, yeah.
Yep. Not super surprising, but, it seems like it's going to be a chalk year. I just kind of thought that coming into it, too, especially with how crazy it was last year. But now we're going to move on to Mason. And Mason, for your sports journalism segment, you did bring a March Madness topic. But before we get to that, so I know you filled out a bracket. So before we get to that, though, who was your Final Four? How's your bracket doing right now?
Yeah, so I had BYU over Duquesne, so that obviously didn't go well.
Yeah.
But
did you have them going farther, or did you get Illinois beating them in the next round?
I had them going to the Sweet 16, so yeah, beating Illinois.
It's a tough one, yeah.
Yeah, it's tough. But I had Auburn over Arizona in the Final Four, and then Houston over Creighton.
And then who was your champion?
And I had Houston win it all.
Houston over Auburn, huh?
Yep.
All right, so we got 2 Houston picks. What was your rationale kind of for picking there?
I just feel like Houston's bound to make a run finally. And then Auburn, I think they match up well with UConn. Creighton matches up well with Purdue, I think. So I think they can both make a run.
Okay.
I would just like to say I thought I had Oregon picked. I've been rooting for Oregon this whole time.
And you have South Carolina?
I do have South Carolina.
Oh, my God.
That's...
Yikes.
Well, never mind. Warren Buffett is not going to be sending you a check this April. Nevada-Dayton game is the other one going on right now, and Dayton was up early, now down 13 in this one. So I kind of split with a bunch of my brackets between Nevada and Dayton. I really wasn't sure about this game, but it looks like Nevada is, barring some sort of big comeback from Dayton as well on their way. But Zach, who was in your Final Four, and who's your champion?
Yeah, so for my Final Four, I had Auburn, I had St. Mary's.
Oh, wow, okay.
Houston and Creighton. I mainly go by, I'm a very statistical guy.
Yep.
I go by defensive efficiency, offensive efficiency. You have to hit your shots, you got to hit free throws, got to be a good rebounding team. And all the Final Four teams, they just fit that criteria. You only got one seed in there, and I feel like with how much like the top 10 seeds we're losing, especially earlier in the year, I think that there's going to not be a lot of 1 seeds, especially in the Final Four.
Again, another year in a row, you think, huh?
Yep.
Okay. How's your bracket doing right now? Have you had any...
Well, currently I am at 100%. I got a perfect bracket. However, the Oregon game, I picked South Carolina, and then I did not pick Dayton. I didn't pick Nevada. I picked Dayton.
Pick Dayton,
Yeah, I'm right there with you.
Yeah, I'm gonna drop 2 there. But in terms of who I
Dayton.
picked to win the whole thing, I picked Auburn.
Yeah, okay.
Auburn is a team that does very well defensively. They're a very well-rounded team. Johnny Broom is definitely going to make a name for himself.
Very underseeded team.
Absolutely. He's going to make a name for himself in the tournament. They have a bunch of shooters. They have at least, I think, 4 or 5 guys that shoot 40% from 3. So they can just light it up against any team. Just all around a solid team. So
Yeah, that game, if it is UConn versus Auburn in the Sweet 16, is going to be a heck of a game. It's one I kind of circled that, like I'm really excited for if that does pan out there. Over to Mason. Mason, how's your bracket doing?
I unfortunately lost on the BYU game, but I did pick both Oregon and Nevada, so I'm kind of back on track right
Okay,
there.
okay.
For Final Four, I had Arizona over Illinois, and then Houston over Creighton, with Houston winning it all. I was completely different than most of you guys. Like Nolan, I know Tuesday you were going through all the stats and everything, and I was just going off of vibes, to be honest, with my bracket. It seems to be working well so far, especially with the Oregon and Nevada games. I thought about doing it based on like what I know best, which is like football, but then I realized like half these teams don't even have football teams.
Yeah, right.
Especially Creighton, who I had going to the Final Four, so that wouldn't work. But I feel decent so far outside the BYU game.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of where I'm at. The BYU game was really the only one, and like I said, that it hurt a lot because they were in my Elite Eight in a couple brackets, my Sweet 16 and other ones. So that one was tough. It was a tough game to watch, especially with they kind of teased us and came back right at the end, and then blew it. But yeah, I mean, props to Duquesne. It was a great game. Like I said, I do have Oregon, so I'm rooting for them. With about 3 minutes to go in that game. They're up 11 right now, so feeling good, but still definitely possible for South Carolina. The Dayton-Nevada game, Dayton's pulling it back a little bit. It's a 10-point game right now with like 13 minutes to go, so we'll see what happens there. But I'm rooting for Dayton in that one. But yeah, I mean, it's my bracket. No brackets I have are perfect. I did not fill out any combination that has Duquesne and Michigan State, I guess, because those were kind of the ones. I was going back and forth on Michigan State too, even though I was pretty confident the Spartans were going to win, and I did end up picking them in all my big brackets, but the ones that are kind of like throwaways were just not there. But yeah, I mean, it's for my Final Four. I had I kind of depended on my bracket, but for my main one, I had Purdue, I had UConn, I had Houston, and then from the West, I took New Mexico. I took
The
New Mexico,
Lobos.
the Lobos from
Love
New
it.
Mexico. I think that they're going to be one of those 11 seeds that sneaks their way into the Final Four. I don't know. I know they're a popular pick. I just got a good feeling about them. I think they got a relatively easy path to get there. I don't really like anybody in the West region, if I'm not going to lie. I think Arizona and North Carolina both have some flaws. Baylor has a lot. Alabama has a lot. St. Mary's is good, but I don't know. It was a very tough region to predict, but we're going with the Lobos. So it should be interesting to see how we all do here. And again, we will continue to update these 2 games that are going on. The next one doesn't start until 5:50, so basically when we're done with the show practically. So like I was saying to the guys before we got in here, we kind of picked a good time to do this because, we're not missing too many of the games right now that are going on.
I have Colorado State in that one, so I think I'm going some pretty big upsets today.
Colorado State, yeah, there's always one playing team. There's always one that sneaks it in. I think for most of mine, I had Colorado over Florida. Yeah. But, we shall see. We shall see what happens. But we are going to move on then to Mason's topic for March Madness and for our sports journalism showcase. What did you bring us today, Mason?
Yeah, so I just wanted to talk about some of the upsets that we could possibly see. I mean, we already saw Duquesne over BYU, which screwed a lot of people over,
Yeah.
especially in their brackets. The one I didn't pick it, but I can see it happening is McNeese over Gonzaga.
Yep.
It's going to happen later tonight.
Yeah. I don't know. McNeese, they're 30-3 right now. They don't have a lot of impressive wins, but when they're averaging 80 80 points per game and ranking top 20 in all of college basketball with that, Gonzaga, they're just not the same Gonzaga that we've seen in previous years. And it's 12v5. There's always a 12v5 upset, except for last year. But I don't know. So I just see that happening. And then JMU over Wisconsin, maybe. I hope not, but it's possible.
I'm going to be sweating that one out tomorrow.
I mean, JMU's 35% from the three-point line, which is pretty good. And Wisconsin's one of the worst three-point defending teams in the nation. But I do think Wisconsin, size-wise, could be able to have an advantage, especially in the paint. JMU's not really known for getting most of their points in the paint, and they struggled against App State, which is another big team with a lot of length. So I think Wisconsin could hopefully pull it out, but you never know. It depends on how James Madison is shooting.
Yeah, and I mean they're a good shooting team too. That's the thing, is they're one of the best 3-point shooting teams. The disparity between JMU's 3-point shooting and 3-point defense compared to Wisconsin's was just absolutely crazy, because JMU loves to shoot the 3 ball. They are very good defenders of the 3 ball, and Wisconsin sucks at shooting the 3 and also doesn't defend it very well. So that's what scares me a little bit about that matchup. And I think I picked JMU in my big money brackets, but I think that overall those two games are going to be probably some of the most entertaining of the weekend, at least on paper. I personally picked Gonzaga over McNeese, and I know that McNeese was a very popular pick, and I was really looking forward to them being an upset pick in my bracket, like way before the selection show. But looking at it, and if you look at the KenPom rankings, which I'm sure you're familiar with if you're a big statistics person, but looking at the KenPom rankings, there's a luck rating in KenPom, which shows basically the amount that a team wins compared to what they're expected to do. So if they have a high luck rating, they're winning more than they should technically, and if they have a low luck rating, they're losing more than they should. And a lot of the teams that are high in luck every year go down super early, and McNeese, I think, was like 8th in the country in luck. So I could not put myself to pick them with how good Mark Few has been in March and with how experienced that Gonzaga team is. But, I mean, anything is certainly possible, and I'm sure a lot of people are going to be very happy if McNeese wins, because, again, that was one of the more popular upset picks. But
I feel like it's almost too popular, though.
that's what I'm saying. I like to stay away from those games. I just, those popular upsets, sometimes they can just... There's only one time I can remember when there was like a super popular upset that actually hit, and I think it was when... It was in 2017, I'm pretty sure. It was the year after Middle Tennessee beat Michigan State as a 15, and they were at 12 again the next year. They were facing a really terrible Minnesota team at the 5, and like everybody picked them, and I did too. But that one, it was like almost guaranteed to hit. This one is kind of a coin flip, I feel like.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't know about anybody else, but anybody else have like upsets that they want to highlight, think that might happen here in the bracket?
Yeah, I think a popular upset for me, especially when I was doing my picks, is Samford over Kansas.
Yeah.
Kansas
I
is
had
a team that's very injured going into the tournament. Kevin McCullough Jr., who averages 18 points for the Jayhawks, is out for the rest of the tournament. He's not going to be playing. Then you have Hunter Dickinson, who just came back from injury. So there's probably going to be a little bit of rust there. That's the thing with college basketball, is you need to be very consistent going into the tournament, gaining momentum. We see teams all the time that go on a huge run in their conference tournament and then make a huge run also in the March Madness tournament. So Samford is a team that shoots very well from 3. They shoot 39% as a team. I just think that Kansas is extremely vulnerable, and I could definitely see them going in the first round.
Yeah, I agree. I think I had Samford actually picked, and we'll see it later tonight. But, I mean, it's never a good sign when I wasn't really hot on Kansas coming in anyways, and then you have your top 2 players basically out, because I know Hunter Dickinson will be back, but he's probably not going to be 100%. And so it's really going to kind of hamper them, I feel like. But, yeah, I think Samford is a good pick there.
On Tuesday, I was talking about James Madison over Wisconsin. But now looking back, now that I researched it a little bit more, I think Wisconsin will win that game.
I sure hope so.
They're shooting 46%, which is 5 percentage points higher than James Madison. And James Madison is not great defending interior.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's where Wisconsin can do a lot of their damage.
Yeah, we saw that. I don't know if but I saw the Wisconsin-Illinois Big Ten game, and And I mean, that's where all their points were coming from, was just paint.
Right. Yeah. I mean, so like that's a good thing. That's like, I mean, there's so many statistics to look at. It can become like overwhelming when you like like them as much as I do and try to like use them as much as I do, and it kind of ends up making your bracket all muddy and stuff because half the time I don't know what to pick because I'm like, oh, well, there's these for this team and then there's this for this team. But the 3-point rate, I think, is a very important statistic, how much teams rely on that three ball to score their points. And Wisconsin's, even though they're a bad 3-point percentage team, super low rate. And obviously they did pretty good. They got to the Big Ten championship and were, a few minutes away from winning it. So, yeah, I think that Wisconsin JMU game is just going to be so tough. And it's one I'm going to be sweating a lot, I think, tomorrow.
I went back and forth on that one like at least 12 times last night, even before. Like I think I switched like 2 or 3 times this morning too. I've got NC State over Texas Tech tonight as well. I don't know why. I just feel like Drake's going to make a run. I actually have them beating Iowa State in the second round as well, going to the Sweet 16. I don't know why, but like Iowa State, I've watched a few games from them, and they've been really inconsistent when I watch them anyways, so that's probably why I picked them. I've also got New Mexico going on to the second round after beating Clemson, so I kind of went half and half with, favorites via seeding versus, technical upsets via the seeding as well.
Yeah, I mean, that's I think Drake is a very respectable pick. I think that, I don't think I had too many brackets where I was picking Wazoo over them, although Wazoo's size does scare me a little bit compared to Drake. But I know Drake was a very popular Sweet 16 pick, so we shall see. Because they have a lot of tournament experience too. But Oregon is winning by 13 again with just over a minute to play, so it certainly looks like they're going to close things out.
Yeah,
Boy,
they got
thank
control of the
God.
ball right now too.
Nevada is a 15-point lead over Dayton with 10 minutes to play, so still keeping an eye on those games for everybody. But yeah, I mean, is there any like big time like shocker upsets you think we could see happen? Because I mean, we think back to last year, how many there were. Princeton to the Sweet 16, obviously FDU winning over Purdue. Is there any of those like 14, 15, 16 seed upsets we think we could see happen, or is it going to be kind of chalk in the first round?
Yeah, I have Marquette losing to Western Kentucky in the first round.
Really?
I just don't believe in Marquette in March. They always find a way to lose, and I think Western Kentucky.
Shaka Smart finds a way to lose.
Yeah, Shaka. Yeah, I think Western Kentucky is probably the best 15 seed in the tournament, and I just wanted one big upset, so I think Western Kentucky's going to get that done.
That's not a bad call. I know there's a lot of people who are kind of hot on that. I don't know. I didn't like the pace of play that they have. They play way too fast, I think, for Western Kentucky. That's why I didn't pick them. But Marquette, I don't think is destined for anything super big this year either. It just doesn't look like it's in the cards. They're always a 2. I mean, it's going to be the second year they're a 2 seed, and probably get tossed early. By the way, Oregon, Cuisinart, or is that how you say his name? Cuisinart, I'm not quite entirely sure how to say his last name, but he has 38 points today for Oregon. So he is kind of going off almost like half the points of the Ducks right now.
That's the best thing about March Madness is, you see teams go on runs, but you also see all these players highlighted in the tournaments.
Yeah.
Players that just go off and just completely improve their draft stock through the tournament.
Right, exactly. And I mean, they said the last person to do that was Steph Curry. So it's in double-digit upset, I think. So that's not too bad a company. But yeah, I mean, I think my like big upset pick would be, and I told you guys about this before. This might seem a little crazy, but Longwood over Houston. I think Houston plays at an incredibly slow rate. So if teams start getting a little up tempo with them, it could put them in a little bit uncomfortable position. I know Houston has an amazing defense, but Longwood is underranked as a 16 seed. Very underranked as a 16. By far the best 16 in the tournament this year. Statistically more of like a 14-ish seed, 14, maybe even 13. So I think that Longwood has a chance to upset Houston. That's just my like throw it at a dartboard type pick that I think is going to happen, but it happened when I called Oral Roberts in 2021, I think that was. And it's going to happen again. I didn't pick it in my bracket because I don't have that big of guts, but I'm verbally picking it here before it starts tomorrow. I think Longwood is gonna take down the Cougs, even though I have Houston winning in a couple brackets. But
It's insane how that can happen, like, just out of nowhere. Like, I'd never realized, after, like, researching, like, how many times just like this, it just happens out of nowhere.
Yep.
Like, Farley Dickinson, and then who was the team that beat Virginia?
UMBC.
Yeah,
UMBC.
like, never heard of that team before and everything, and they smoked them in the first round.
Yep.
I mean, it's just one game elimination. If
Yeah.
you're a 16 seed coming in, you're just praying to God
Yeah.
that they're off. You know,
It's the best part about March Madness, right there.
so much
So
madness.
unexpected.
Anybody
so
can
much
win.
madness.
So unexpected.
Yeah, I am a firm believer in that upsets make the tournament better because everybody's bracket is going to get busted. So you might as well root for upsets. That's just my kind of take on it. Now, if it's your champion or it's in your Final Four or something, I understand a little bit more. But if you only have them to like the Sweet 16 or something like that, like root for the upset. I'm just a firm believer in that. I have Houston in my championship in some of my brackets, and I'm going to be rooting for Longwood to take him down because I just love to see the chaos of March Madness. I think that's just one of the best parts. And Oregon is certainly, they're up 14, they're going to win here. And Dayton is just getting
They're down by
destroyed by
17.
Nevada. Yeah.
I'm no longer 100%.
17.
I had both those. I had both of those.
Well, I thought Dayton was supposed to be a good defensive team. That's why I picked them.
Yeah, I know.
You would think.
I know they have a really good player too. Oregon's just running the clock out here. So, Oregon Ducks are officially the second upset of the tournament. The 2-11 seeds, which have become kind of the more popular pick than the 5-12. It used to be the big 5-12 with all the rage, and now those 11s are just whooping the 6s. I think that's the second one. Obviously, the second one today. I don't think any other 6 seeds have played yet. So, I mean, what was it, like 3 11 seeds won last year, and now it's already 2 this year. So it's something about those 11 seeds. I don't know.
I don't think NC State's beating Texas Tech though.
I don't either. I think
That's not going to happen.
I
And
just
if it does happen, I don't know what I'll do.
I don't
I
trust
know
those teams
what
that.
I'll do.
All right, do you have Texas Tech going far?
No.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's going to be crazy. I have a bad feeling that my bracket is going to get busted at some point, either today or tomorrow, even more so than it has. And I'm just really, really hoping that New Mexico does not lose in the first round, but we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, it seems like a lot of these games, especially in the first half, they're very close, and then the second half, one team pulls away. I
Right.
feel like just about every single game at halftime has been like within 10 points at least. There hasn't been any like really big wire-to-wire blowouts. We saw that with the Creighton game, where Creighton was really tight with Akron.
They were sweating
Yeah,
early.
they were.
Especially
So,
Illinois, too.
yeah.
Illinois was another big one.
Well, speaking of Akron, just random shout out to Enrique Freedom, who actually tied the record for the most double doubles by a player in their career all time. He's tied with actually Armando Baycott. So because
Oh,
he
okay.
won, he'll probably end up breaking the record.
Right.
Just random shout out over there. So,
Yeah, I mean, North Carolina was another one of those games, though, too, where I think Wagner was keeping it somewhat close, at least for a little bit respectable early, which, is a lot to say considering that they had 7 guys on their
Yeah.
team, 7 total. 2 people on their bench at all times. It's just absolutely wild to me for a tournament team, but nonetheless, we will be keeping an eye out for those brackets. And again, most games, Dayton, Nevada is going to be the only one going on now until about 5:50 when Colorado State, Texas starts. So Oregon and Creighton is officially the first set up matchup of the second round. So we'll see what happens in that one. But we're going to be moving on topics now, and we're going to move to historical teams. And we're going to be talking about the last 10 NCAA champions and ranking them as to how good we think that they are. So the last champions going back from last year, obviously the 4-seed UConn won. Then the year before that was Kansas, followed by Baylor. 2020, the tournament got canceled due to COVID. 2019 was Virginia. 2018, Villanova. 2017, North Carolina. Villanova, Duke, UConn again in 2014, and then the Louisville title in 2013, which did get vacated, but they won the title. You can't take away a title from something that has happened already. My firm belief in that. I don't care what happened. Even like the Houston Astros, as much as I don't like the Houston Astros for cheating, you can't just take away their title. It happened. It's unfortunate, but it happened. That's just kind of where I stand on it. So we will be ranking those teams, and we'll start with our top 10. And we'll start with Alex. So who do you have in your top 10, Alex, starting from 10?
Okay. I had 2021 Baylor, 2013 Louisville, 2019 Virginia, 2022 Kansas, 2018 Villanova, 2015 Duke, 2017 North Carolina, 2016 Villanova, 2014 UConn, and then in my one, I know they were a 4th seed coming into the tournament, but I have last year's UConn team. Just something about them. They were a 4 team. I don't think they were definitely the team that everyone last year thought was going to get upset by another team.
They were dominant last year, though, too. They were. I
But
will
they
give you
came in
that.
as the 4th seed,
Yeah.
and looking into that tournament, people were like, "Oh, this isn't, the greatest UConn team." And then they kind of just ran through that tournament, and they destroyed.
They kind of got overlooked.
Who'd they destroy in the San Diego?
They destroyed San Diego State in the championship
Yeah,
game. They
yeah.
beat Miami big time in the Final Four. They ran through pretty much everybody. I mean, Gonzaga was their opponent in the Elite Eight. I think they decimated them. They didn't have to face Kansas. That was the thing. They did not have to face the number 1 Kansas, but Kansas lost to Arkansas in that round of 32, so they didn't have to face them at all. But I don't think it's that bad a pick. The one I'm curious about is 2014 UConn. It was a 7 seed beating an 8 seed Kentucky. Why haven't them ranked so high, you think?
I like that they're the underdogs. Again, that's why I put them so high. Just another one of those teams that are coming in and people don't expect much out of them, and then they go out and win the whole thing. It's just a great underdog story.
Shabazz Napier. Never forget March Madness legend.
You didn't say rank them based off skill. You just said rank them.
That's true. Yeah, I mean, you could rank them. There's many different interpretations. But yeah, so a couple of UConns at the top there.
And they have a sick logo.
They do. They have a nice logo. Much better than like the old I call it the Frisky Husky because it was just so I don't know. I like their new logo a lot better. But over to Mason, your top 10 ranked.
Yeah, so I got 2014 UConn at 10, and then 2013 Louisville, 2017 North Carolina, 2022 Kansas, 2023 UConn, 2019 Virginia, 2016 Villanova, 2015 Duke, and 2018 Villanova, and then at number 1 I got 2021 Baylor. I just think, I don't know, Baylor, they had all the COVID problems. I think their season got shut down like halfway through the season. They missed like 2 weeks or something. I think one of their only losses came right after that their shutdown ended. And then they beat undefeated Gonzaga in the championship, and I think that Gonzaga team was really good.
They didn't just beat them; they destroyed them in that game. It was not a close game at all, and which was kind of surprising, to be honest. But I mean, maybe it was in the cards after that Gonzaga team was super close with UCLA in the Final Four. Yeah, I don't think that's a bad list at all. I thought that the Baylor team, while they did kind of surprise me because I didn't have them picked in anything, but it was a valid team and one that I just kind of overlooked in 2021. Zach, your top 10.
Yeah, so at 10, I have 2013 Louisville, only because there's an asterisk. I completely agree with what you said about how, like, it can't be taken away, but there kind of is always that, like, underlying, like,
Yeah.
well, this happens.
They did it for Kevin Ware, man.
I know.
They
I
did, yeah.
understand.
They did.
It's kind of like with Reggie Bush getting his Heisman taken
Yep.
away.
Right,
And that's kind of the
exactly.
same thing for me. 9, I have 2015 Duke. I will forever hold a grudge against them for
Yeah.
beating Wisconsin. That Frank the Tank,
Screw
Sam
Duke.
Decker team. Yeah, cannot forgive that. 8, I have 2018 Villanova. 7, 2017 North Carolina. 6, 2020 Kansas. 5, 2023 UConn, who just ran through the tournament, but they didn't really play.
They didn't play a
top
ton
team.
of great teams.
Yeah,
but
because obviously it was crazy last year. 4, I have 2021 Baylor. They were just dominant the entire year. 3, I have 2014 UConn. It's just a Cinderella, cardiac Kemba. It's just awesome. 2, I have 2019 Virginia. It's just like the ultimate get back story. After being the only team to ever lose to a 16 seed at the time, and then they just run it back next year and then win
Yeah.
the tournament. That's awesome. And number 1, I have 2016 Villanova. Probably the greatest championship game that we've had so far.
yeah, that was an amazing game.
Buzzer beater at the end. My dad won money from that. It was on my birthday. It just kind of has a lot of meaning to me, so that's why I put that at number 1.
It's very fair. I like that team. I like the 2016 Villanova team. That championship, because I don't like North Carolina, and no offense to anybody who does, but that was an amazing game. I mean, Marcus Page shot right before that was just absolutely insane, where
Well,
he's
that
like
doesn't get talked about
adjusting
enough,
mid-air. Yeah, it doesn't. And he was just adjusting in mid-air, and that was so wild. But 2016 Villanova, I like it.
Similarly, I've got 2013 Louisville at 10, 2018 Villanova at 9, 2023 UConn at 8, 2017 North Carolina at 7, 2022 Kansas at 6, 2015 Duke at 5. I've kind of followed similarly. I think that was like the first like final March Madness I ever watched because I wasn't into basketball at that time. You know, Wisconsin's going good. You gotta tune in as kind of like the bandwagon Wisconsin fan. I was crushed at like 15 years old even watching that. But 2014 UConn at 4, 2019 Virginia at 3, 2016 Villanova, and 2021 Baylor at 1. Those top two are interchangeable for me. Like that buzzer beater, I remember watching that after the second year I really watched finals, and then Baylor coming back from like COVID, half their team was out and everything. Like that takes a lot of adversity to get through. So that's kind of why I chose them at 1.
Very solid pick there. My top 10, at number 10, I'm going to pick Duke, 2015 Duke. Yeah.
Just hates them that much.
Yeah, I do not like Duke, and I thought that they were undeserving of that championship. I hated Grayson Allen at the time. Absolutely hated him. So I'm just because I'm petty, I'm putting Duke there at 10. 9, I am going to slot 2014 Connecticut, excuse me. I think that while it was a great run they went on and Napier was amazing, it was still a 7 seed. It was still a team that had to play. I know they had to beat Florida in the Final Four, which was a tough game there. But then they had to go face 8 seed Kentucky in the championship, and I just don't think that was a super tough championship for them. I think that they would lose to a lot of quality teams if you played all of these teams in their prime. At number 8, rather, I am going to go with number 2017 North Carolina. I think that's another one that they were good. I mean, obviously all champions here are good, but I just think that they were playing a Gonzaga team that wasn't, there yet, wasn't ready to win the championship yet in the championship. I don't know. Again, I'm not a huge fan of North Carolina either, but 6 or 7 I'll have Louisville. Again, I think that team was actually really good. I think that the fact that they have an asterisk on it is it really wasn't anything that like the players did. It was more the coaches and what Rick Pitino did. And playing for Kevin Ware was a huge story, obviously, after what happened to him. So I'll always have respect for that team. My 7, I would probably, let me see if am I doing this right? I had 10, 9, 8, 7. Okay, I'm at 6 now, actually. At 6, I'm actually going to put 2019 Virginia. It was amazing that they came back after they had lost that 1 seed. They come all the way back. They win the championship the very next year. But that team was not good, and that team did not deserve to win a championship in my book. Auburn should have beat them in that game. That was not a foul at the time based on the rule book. If you remember, I mean, Kyle Guy literally shot a 3, and it should have been it. And they called a foul on Auburn that was just terrible, and it allowed Virginia to win the game. They had a couple of different ones, like against Tennessee, where it was a super close game. And they were just super lucky. They did have a great championship game against Texas Tech. That was an amazing game, and I think that a lot of props to them for winning that one because that was a very tough one. But I don't know. I just think that they overall did not deserve it. And, it's just my take on Virginia there. So then at 5, I'm going to slot 2022 Kansas. I think I hold them a little bit higher in my regard just because I picked them. But, they had the best comeback of all time in a championship game. I don't know if you guys remember that. They were down like 15. It was like 40-25. By the way, Dayton is coming back.
Yeah, they're down
it's
by
a
6
6-point
now,
game
yeah.
right now.
Shout out Dayton. Come on. You guys can do it.
This is an 11-0 run right now. They're down
This
2
is
possessions.
insane.
4 minutes to go in this game. We'll keep an eye on it. Oh, Nevada just lost the ball.
Oh,
Hey, there's that
They're
defense I
diving
was
for
talking
it.
about.
Where are they going? Is it going to
It's a
call a
defense.
jump on this? Oh, this is a 56-50 game with 4:06 to play. We're doing practically live play-by-play right now on here. That was a
What did
loose
they call
ball.
that?
Dayton, they called a timeout. So Nevada must have had possession. So Nevada just called timeout. They have 1 left. So they're still going to have the ball.
I don't know why you didn't call the timeout after when you're on a 0-11 run, but that's just me.
Yeah. So anyways, back to the list. We got Kansas at number 5. Bill Self's team. I think they were good, and they pulled off a great upset, or a great comeback, rather, but not great. Number 3, I'm going to take. I guess I still do have 4 teams left, so this is number 4. Number 4, I'm going to take 2016 Villanova. Great matchup, best championship game, best game in college basketball I've ever seen. But overall, that team wasn't as good as their counterpart in 2018. Number 3, I'm going to take UConn, 2023 UConn. Again, rolled through everybody, but just didn't play enough competition in my mind to warrant a better spot. 2, I'm going to put Baylor, 28-2. Very good all-around team. Beat Gonzaga, the undefeated Gonzaga Bulldogs, in the championship. Kind of ran through everybody again. Had to deal with COVID and everything. And then number 1 spot, I'm putting 2018 Villanova. And this is when I was kind of sick of Villanova. But that team was amazing and just rolled through everybody and dismantled Michigan in the in the championship game. And I've never seen a more dominant team. I mean, you got to think about how many guys they had on that team. They had Josh Hart, they had Dante DiVincenzo, they had other, like future NBA players on that squad, and they were just way better than everybody else by far. So it was fitting to see them win because the best team for sure won that year. So that is my list of 10. Anybody have anything to say about anybody's list? Anybody have any contentions? Or are we all pretty happy?
I trust you, man. I trust you.
I appreciate that. That means a lot.
I put my trust in you talking about these things.
This is
Yeah.
my bread and butter right here. This is what I live for.
I sit over here, like, little one-liners, comedic relief, like a glue guy.
It's like last week when this was just like all anger over in this room over here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Completely changed. He's being nice this week.
Right. Yeah, he's being a sweetheart. It's just,
Guys, stop.
I
He's
mean,
blushing
not
over
much
there.
could get me down today because this is the best day of the year.
And Brian Shannon canceled class.
There you
Shout
go. He
out
knows
him.
what's up. He knows what's up.
It's like
Brian Shannon is probably watching his TV.
Oh, yeah.
He's got 4 TVs set up as we speak.
it's like
so.
I saw something on Twitter today. Some guy said my daughter is home with strep throat and she's learning, like the first time she's ever been home to watch March Madness.
Yeah, I mean, luckily my only class today was optional, but I was like, I don't care if I had a final exam today. I would not go to class.
Like-
I'm plopping myself down in front of my 4 TV setup and just watching all day. But I'll come for Hawk Talk because Hawk Talk is family.
And we
And you're
can
not
talk
not
about
watching
it.
the game.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
right. I'm
you're
watching the
watching the
game
game.
right now, so I mean,
Yeah, they just came back from commercial break. We're
this
back.
is
Let's go, Dayton.
This is
No.
yeah. Come on, Dayton.
No.
What do we got?
It's a 6-point game still. Nevada just got the ball back with 4 minutes to go. So okay, we're gonna turn to another topic. We will keep watching the game here, and let you guys know if anything notable happens. But
Oh.
continuing our talk about March Madness for today, we are going now to the biggest upset ever, and we get to talk about some of the biggest upsets in your mind of all time. Obviously, 16 seeds, both of the 16s over 1s, is huge, but I mean, there's plenty more to choose from. So, what do we got? Biggest upsets of all time, biggest upsets that you remember. Oh, Dayton
Oh,
just hit a 3.
3.
Dayton is within 3 right now.
This
There's
is the
3 minutes
greatest day of
left.
Oh
my
my
life.
Anything can happen.
goodness.
Let's go. Come on.
Dayton,
They were down by 16.
They were down by.
That's showbiz, baby.
Nevada
That's
has not
showbiz.
scored any points in 4 minutes. Dayton just hit a corner 3. Oh my goodness.
Corner 3.
Corner 3. Boom.
There's so much. It's such a momentum.
They are
swing. Oh, boy.
rolling right now. 13-0 run. So yeah, let's go to the biggest upsets ever as we continue to watch this Dayton game. We'll start over here with Mason. Mason, what is one upset you remember, or in your mind, the biggest of all time in all tournaments?
I think it's got to be UMBC, just because of how they did it. It was not even a close game.
Yeah, 20-point game.
Yeah, like they shot 50% from the 3-point range. Like that's almost unheard of. Like Virginia couldn't even make a bucket. They were 18.2 from beyond the arc. They won by 20 as a 16 seed against a 1 seed. And I'm gonna be honest, I had never heard of UMBC before.
I don't
watching
think
that
anybody
game.
had.
Like I had to remind myself before today what UMBC was at this point.
University of Maryland, Baltimore
Yeah,
County,
like,
baby.
It's insane, and yeah, like it's 20 points at winning as a 16 seed over a 1 seed. I think that's got to take it.
I mean, I remember that game. Like, those are always the games where the March Madness app will send you like updates, like notifications, like, "Hey,
Yeah.
this game is close right now." And I was like, "Oh, a 16 is beating a 1," and it's like, "Oh, it's almost halftime." So I'll turn it on. Because what it used to be, this is Dayton for the tie. Oh, they got it! Oh my goodness! Dayton has tied this
baby.
game up. Oh my goodness! This is a tie game at 56 with 2:30 to play.
There's
Holy
going to be
cow.
so much nonsense because I'm the only one that has Nevada in here, if I'm correct.
I picked Nevada too.
Okay, beautiful.
I picked Nevada in a couple ones, but it's Dayton in my main bracket. It's
Mason squared rocking out with Nevada. We love to see it.
a 17-0 run right now Dayton
Oh.
is on.
That was a bad
Oh,
shot.
there we go.
there we go.
Nevada
They're
hit
back.
that
They're
shot.
back.
That's crazy.
Somehow, some way.
You sure we just don't want to do a play-by-play?
They
for the rest
end
of
the
this game at this
run.
point?
I mean, it's very tempting right now with the way this game's been going. Dayton
it's
taking
slow.
it at the 3-point line. Inside, got a man. That is going to be
That's
fouled
fine.
and one. Oh, my
Head
goodness.
tap. Come on.
Oh, my goodness. Dayton just hit an and one. He was going for the lob. Holmes was going for the dunk and just took a foul, somehow got that one to go.
This is insane.
Oh, my goodness.
Jeez.
Found the bounce.
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, if you are watching and you do not have this game on, you should probably
Yeah, turn the
Yeah,
game
absolutely.
on. Turn the Dayton game on. The Dayton Nevada game. This is one of the better games we've seen all day so far. Because I mean, there's been a few good
Yeah.
games. I mean, obviously the Duquesne.
BYU, yeah.
Dayton is up right now. Dayton has the lead now.
After being
with 2
down by
minutes to play.
17, what happened? Oh, it's now you call it.
Hypothetically.
First lead since
Now we call the
3:15 in
timeout.
the first half.
Hypothetically,
Oh.
you're at a funeral and you get the notification, Dayton, Nevada, close game. You pulling your phone? You pulling your phone?
It depends whose funeral it is, and if it's me,
Crazy
if it's
question,
me
I'm not
planning the
gonna lie.
funeral, it's obviously somebody very close to me. And if it's
You're distraught about it.
all the way around.
Let's say it that way.
Then I would not plan the
know.
funeral for March Madness.
That's fair.
I would not. I would plan the funeral for
Yeah.
the Wednesday or the
a good
Tuesday
point.
before. I would never plan it on the Thursday of March Madness starting.
Fair.
But if I mean,
It is a hypothetical.
if it was like my mom or my dad or like anybody like super close to me's funeral,
Yeah.
no, I'm not pulling my phone out. Obviously,
Absolutely not.
But,
but it's Dayton, Nevada.
I don't know.
But it's a close game.
It's
You're gone. Out the door.
this is getting way too philosophical for me. Probably not. I would probably not pull the phone out. I probably wouldn't even see the notification low key
You
because
just
my
look at
phone
it
would be in
after
my
and just be
pocket.
like, what?
Can't be disrespectful like that.
Yeah. Maybe at the wake. I don't know.
Also, this is
Okay.
first round. This is
Yeah,
first
okay.
round. It's not
First
like
round.
cheese shit. Come on now.
Yeah, I'll be the villain, guys. I'll
Yeah.
be the
This
bad guy. Unbelievable.
Returning to your last week realm. Right where you need to be.
Yeah. So, anyways, before we get into more talks at funerals, UMBC, I remember them hitting every single shot in that game. It was just absolutely crazy when it was like 50-39 or something like that. And they're like, what has happened to Virginia? And it's just like, it was one of those games where, Nevada
Oof.
turnaround missed. Dayton has an opportunity. It's a minute 35 to
so
go here.
upsetting.
20-2 run in the last 45 minutes and
So
45
good. I have
seconds.
him in the Elite Eight.
Just crazy. Was that a foul
That
there?
had to
No.
be- oh,
No foul call. Dayton's still rolling with it.
they're
Dayton
score
inside
here.
of the hoop.
Oh,
And that was a
turnover.
turnover.
Yeah, stinky.
A minute 19 to go here. We're just going to call it play-by-play for the
Yeah.
last minute 19 here.
This
'cause
is going to go to
nobody
overtime.
else is paying
This is
attention.
definitely going to go to overtime at this point.
You hope so. This is some wishful thinking there on your
Correct.
part. Nevada, that was a little bit of
Oh,
a push
that's
off
a
there.
push.
Oh, he somehow got it to
He
go.
got it.
Banked off the
Ooh.
glass. Nevada has the lead back with a minute and 2 seconds to go. 60-59, 55 seconds and counting. And this game has become super close. Let's go Flyers, man. They got robbed in 2020 when they didn't get to play with Obi Toppin when they were going to be the 1 seed. They
He's gonna
deserve
get it
this.
here.
A lot of people thought they would have won that tournament with Obi Toppin.
They
Oh.
deserve this. They deserve this.
he's
Inside,
got
Dayton
it.
got it to
Too
go.
big.
God, I feel like I'm there.
61-60.
I feel like I'm there.
35 seconds. It's like watching on TV. Nevada bringing it down the court, and they're going to take a timeout here.
Ugh.
Should I talk about my upset when?
All
it's
right,
on
yeah.
timeout?
Well,
Yeah.
they got a timeout going here, so we're going to talk about the upset. Again, UMBC, though, just to cap that off, it was like one of those, you always see the 16 versus the 1, and you see it like close at halftime, and you're like, nothing's going to happen. The 1 seed's going to pull away after the half. And it just didn't happen. UMBC was just shooting lights out and got even better in the second half. It was an insane game. Very good pick. Probably mine, but I'm going to differentiate it when it comes back to me now. But your pick, Zach, for best upset, or one of the ones that you remember the most.
Yeah, like you said, I'm going to also kind of differentiate it. I know obviously UMBC has to be kind of like the 1-1 just because how badly they beat them. And it was like the first time ever 16
Right.
seed beat 1 seed. You got Purdue that lost, which, obviously I'll never trust Purdue. So you guys know how I feel about Purdue. For me, I think it was the Loyola Chicago 2018 Cinderella run. For me, that was just unheard of. Some team with like a 90-year-old, Sister Jean. They
That was
Ended
such
up-
an insane.
104 now.
104 now.
104.
Yes. Yeah, good for her. Is the lowest seed ever to make a Final Four. Obviously, they would end up losing to Michigan, unfortunately, but I remember that just being an insane run. It seemed like everybody in the country was rooting for Loyola Chicago.
Yeah, they had the hearts of America with Sister Jean, and that was a crazy run. I picked them in to go to like the Sweet 16, so I was like, all right, and then they kept going. And I was like, but I mean, that was just the ultimate region of chaos of like all time, because you had a 16 seed UMBC win in that one. You had obviously Loyola Chicago win in there. I mean, Nevada won. I think the final 4 teams in that region were 5 seed Kentucky, 9 seed Kansas State, 11 seed Loyola Chicago, and 7 seed Nevada in that year. So just absolutely bonkers. And it was 9 Kansas State and 11 Loyola Chicago in the Elite Eight. So
Right, yeah.
We're back.
it was crazy. We are back. 22 seconds to go. Nevada has the ball
Perfect time.
right around the top of the key, inside at the free throw line. They lost
Terrible
it. Turnover.
cross.
And they're going to foul Dayton.
That's defense, baby.
15.5 to go. They fouled them, and Dayton looks like they're going to go to the line for a 1-and-1.
Boy,
Oh, man.
I'm blaming my buddy Jack if Nevada loses this because he called game with 7 minutes left. So he is
Dayton is actually in the double bonus. They're going to get 2 here.
the root of this occurring.
I cannot believe Dayton has come back here. This is absolutely insane.
I'm so back.
We are so back.
I am not.
Yeah,
We are
only
so
one
back.
incorrect-
Okay,
if
they need to make the
Dayton
free
wins-
throws here,
Yeah.
though. They need to make the free throws.
We're back department. I'd like to file a claim.
We need 15 seconds. We can say we're back.
I'm gonna like blow on the laptop.
All
just to
right,
see if
first
it'll
free
go
throw
away.
is good. Dayton 2-point lead, 15.5 to go. So it'll be one of the guttiest March Madness games in a while. I feel like. I mean, the amount that they were down.
What's
It
the
was,
biggest?
like 17 points
yeah,
they
it
were
was
down.
17. What's the biggest comeback? Is it 22, 24?
I don't remember exactly what it was. Somebody looked that up.
Well, they were also
Jamie,
down-
look that up real quick.
And
They were
good.
down 17.
Oh, the ball
Ball
got stuck in the net
Ball
again,
is
dude. I
stuck.
don't know
Oh, we're
how.
back.
Dude, they need to loosen these nets. It's like the 3rd time it's happened where the ball has gotten stuck in the net. It happened twice in Arizona against Long Beach State.
Well, they were down 17 too, with only like 7
Yeah.
minutes left, I think.
It was crazy.
That's
Yeah,
an insane
that was
comeback.
a wild comeback. A 20-2 run or whatever it was is absolutely insane.
That 3 was awesome.
If I was Nevada's coach, nobody's coming back next year. You are
You
not
are
allowed to come back.
Just absolutely insane.
You guys
the boys are
are-
going absolutely crazy in the group chat right now, in the Hawk
Yeah.
Talk group chat.
Pure-blooded losers.
Yeah, I mean, we have kind of abandoned this, but this is way better in my opinion
Yes.
because
Live coverage.
live coverage of the March Madness games that we are, I guess, illegally broadcasting, but not really
Eh.
because you can react to
Yeah.
it. All parody and stuff is fair use, fair game. People do that all the time on YouTube. So, I mean, did they hit something? Are you
I
ahead?
was a little ahead.
You're ahead.
Yeah, it's over.
It's over.
Yeah, Dane won.
Oh,
How dare you?
Sweet.
How
you
dare
spoiled it.
We are so back.
We are so back.
so back.
12 seconds, 10 seconds. Pretend that
No, you
Mason
didn't
just
hear
didn't say
that.
that.
You did not hear that.
It did not.
7 seconds, 6 seconds. Nevada taking the 3.
Bink.
No good. Off the back iron. 3 seconds, 2 seconds. He's going to pass it out somehow. Did he even get that shot off? It doesn't matter. Dayton completes the comeback. And
That's huge.
we,
We.
not you, are so not you back.
Let's go.
That's
Dayton, baby.
fair. That's fair.
Dayton.
That's ridiculous.
That was actually one of the most wild games I've ever seen. The fact that they came back in that one is crazy.
Oh man, the fans are distraught.
Dude, thank God.
Wouldn't
I don't
you?
have
I'd be absolutely gutted if I was a Nevada fan
Thank
right
God
now.
I don't have a time machine because I would probably be up $1 billion from gambling. Like, dude, Back to the
A
Future
live
2.
bet would go crazy.
Oh my God, Back to the Future 2 instilled that idea into my head on going back in time with just elite ball knowledge.
Yeah.
You know, what was his Biff?
Biff Tannen from
Biff
Back to the
Tannen, yeah.
Future.
Yeah.
Biff Tannen, the gambling mogul.
Dude, that's what I always said. If I had a time machine, the first thing I would do is go back to any March Madness and just absolutely like pick a perfect bracket and just get unbelievable
I'd be
notoriety and
betting
money.
on like
You get $1 billion.
4
You don't even
a.m.
have to
ping
bet. Just
pong,
make
dude.
the perfect bracket, dude, and you are going to be a millionaire.
Oh, you set for life?
You're set for life, and you're going to get so much publicity. I could write a book about it.
And then I do it 10 more times.
Yeah, right.
Well,
I pick a perfect bracket every single year.
I was telling Mason this too. If there ever is a perfect bracket, whoever gets that is going to be hired by ESPN, and they're just going to be on every single year saying who they're going to pick.
Right,
Of course, they're never
exactly.
going to do it again, but you know,
No, that will never happen.
Yeah.
A perfect bracket, as much as we'd like to think it will never ever happen.
unfortunately.
Unbelievable. No chance it happens ever.
It's going to happen.
You think so?
It's gonna
I would
happen.
love to see it someday, and I'd love for it to be me, but no, the odds are just so astronomical. There's no chance that somebody could do it. And I mean, 24-4 run at the end of the game, by the way, for Dayton is crazy. 24-4. How does that happen in college basketball?
You love to see it.
You do love to see
You
it.
do
I
love
love
to
to see
see
it.
it.
I'm so glad it was Dayton. Could not happen to a better school.
And that's just like the story of we're back. Like at first, it's just like, oh,
Yeah.
you know, we're screwed. And then 5 minutes later, you're back. You
Dayton,
know, we're
Arizona.
back. We're so back.
Yep.
Yeah.
Dayton,
And-
Arizona is going to be meeting on Saturday in Salt Lake City.
I have removed my friend that called game with 7 minutes left from the group chat. He is no longer allowed to return to the group chat.
All right,
He's
well,
been banned,
we-
exiled.
we have a few minutes before we have to do final thoughts here. Let's get back to the upsets after that wild game. And Zach, you were about to do your pick. Did you say who you?
Oh, I finished off with Loyola Chicago.
Loyola Chicago. That's right. Yep, you're right. Yeah, that was absolutely a wild run. Moving on to Mason now. Mason, your biggest upset or the upset you remember the most?
I got St. Peter's beating Kentucky.
That's another good one. Yeah.
I like that one because I picked it. So I don't know. It was a great game too.
It was a fantastic game. And, I mean, the fact that they went to the Elite Eight
Yeah.
was crazy. No 12 seed, or excuse me, no 13 seed, no 14 seed has ever been to the Elite Eight. A 15 seed has. Wild. Wild. They did get dismantled by North Carolina, which you kind of expected. But at the time, it was like, man, that game against Purdue, I feel like, in the Sweet 16 for St. Peter's was even more electric than, like, their original one against Kentucky. Just because it was like, holy cow, like, this team is, like, legit right now. But, yeah, St. Peter's, great pick. The Peacocks, that was another one that America was just all over, that they loved. Moving on to Lads.
Mine was a very recent one. I had Farley Dickinson over Purdue.
Yeah.
I
I mean, you had to say it, you know? It's
Somebody
like,
had to.
Somebody had to say it.
I mean, a 16 seed knocking off a 1 is just, you know, it doesn't happen. Doesn't happen every year. Rarely happens.
And statistically, that was the biggest upset of all time.
I mean,
Like,
Purdue was expected to win that year.
nobody, I know Virginia was the number one overall, and they got dismantled, but nobody in their right mind expected Farley Dickinson to win. I mean, they were a first four team, and they didn't even win their conference. They were second in their conference, but because the team that won their conference, Merrimack, did not have complete D1 eligibility yet, they couldn't even go to the tournament. So this was a school that did not win their conference, that goes in the first four, wins the first four, and goes on to beat a Purdue team that was absolutely a bunch of frauds last year.
Did
but
they win in the round of 32?
no, they didn't. They
Okay.
did not. No
That's
16 seed ever
unfortunate.
won in the round of 32 yet.
That's
But
unfortunate.
Disappointing.
I will say,
Could be Longwood this year.
I'm just saying, teams that lose to a 16 seed the year prior have never lost a championship the year after.
That's fair.
Come on.
That's why Purdue is winning.
Yeah, with
It's
that-
just in the trends. It's
a
in the
lot of
numbers.
sample size on
It's
that.
in the
Yeah.
numbers. Hey, it's happened. It's happened. Yeah, so crazy upset there. I remember watching that. Was absolutely bewildered that had happened. But mine, I'm going to go with, is kind of a throwback, actually, is FGCU. It was the first 15 seed to ever go to the Sweet 16, Florida Gulf Coast. They called them Dunk City. Were one of the most fun teams I ever got to watch. Because the way that, I mean, they beat Georgetown and they beat San Diego State to go to the Sweet 16, but that team was just electric. I mean, I'll never forget, like, the Kevin Harlan call where they, like, threw it up and just absolutely dunked it to, like, seal the game. Was, like, one of the ultimate March Madness highlights. And that was the first 15 seed to kind of make it possible. Like, we can go past the round of 32. We're not just, like, one and done. And now, obviously, three 15 seeds in a row have gone to the Sweet 16, which is kind of insane to think about. Oral Roberts, St. Peter's, and Princeton last year. But, yeah, the other one I'm going to shout out is Middle Tennessee over Michigan State. I watched that game in its entirety, and I remember Michigan State was the team I had picked to win March Madness that year. It was a team a lot of people, I think they were one of the most popular picks to win it all. And they lose in the round of 64 to a Middle Tennessee team that was way better than they should have been. at the 15 line. So those are some of our big upsets that we remember from March Madness. Anybody have any other ones they would like to mention before we get to final thoughts? Because I know there's a lot of them. So if anybody has one to say,
I think the
speak
biggest
now.
one I have this year is the Lobos going to the Sweet 16.
Final Four, baby. Final
have them in the
that's
Final Four?
I do.
Yeah.
I do. I think the Lobo. I'm all in on the Lobos. But yeah, it should be interesting to see. It should be an interesting one. But yeah, that will. We will continue to watch these March Madness games as soon as we get back home, I'm sure. The next one starts very soon.
now.
Right now, pretty much, yeah. So
Colorado State up 4-2.
My
Texas.
roommate still has a perfect bracket. That's upsetting.
that he still has a perfect bracket. Oh
Yeah.
my goodness.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I will say, don't be surprised if Purdue loses again in the first round. 'cause
They can't.
There's no
They can't,
way.
they can't.
There's
They
no
cannot
way
do it.
they lose to
they
Grambling.
shouldn't. But you know what they say, history tends to repeat itself.
There's no chance they lose to Grambling.
I hope, like, I'm just not a Purdue fan.
I'll
I was
drop
gonna say,
out.
It's
I'm not-
Longwood.
You'll drop out?
I'll drop out. I won't drop out.
Okay.
Okay, I was gonna say.
I'm too invested.
I was about to say, the last time we had to take like that, it was Nolan saying he'd quit Hawk Talk.
That's
if
right,
Travis
yeah.
Kelsey proposed to Taylor Swift.
I
Yeah.
said
I was
something
wrong.
about the Chargers in the Hawk Talk group chat that I will not repeat.
What was it? Come on.
I don't
He
even
can't
remember.
repeat.
Come on.
Nah, I can't. The FCC is gonna get mad at me.
Yeah, they
Oh,
can.
that's fair.
Let's
They're gonna
keep
knock on
it
my door.
PG. We made it this long. So, final thoughts. Final thoughts as we head into the late slate of March Madness Day 1. Alex.
I'm just excited to see where this goes. I'm especially excited for this Purdue game because I know it's very 50-50 and it shouldn't be. You know, when it comes to
It
people's
is not.
expectations. No, I'm not talking about. I'm saying like 50% of people believe and 50% of people don't. And when it's a 1 versus 16 seed, usually it's, 95+% of people are picking the 1 seed. But this year, like Zach over here, he doesn't see the vision.
Yeah, I
He doesn't see
apologize
the
for all my
vision.
Purdue hate. I apologize. I've been way too hard on them throughout this entire year, so I apologize. I do want them to win. I picked them to win. I just don't think they're going far. So I said, don't be surprised. I said, don't be surprised if they lose. Doesn't mean I'm gonna think it.
Anyways, over to Mason. Thank you for joining us, by the way. Everybody give Mason a round of applause. Bringing us our March Madness topic. Join us on our March Madness show. You've certainly picked a good one to come on. Final thoughts.
Yeah, I've had a great time. I'm just nervous for the Wisconsin game tomorrow, so
Aren't we all?
see how that
Aren't we
goes.
all?
Yeah.
Colorado State up 6 by Texas, by the way, early.
Now it's 3.
Did they?
Nope.
Nope, that didn't count.
That didn't count.
That didn't count. What a pass. Anyways,
what's the score?
but thank you. 8-2.
Oh.
8-2. Super early.
Yeah.
But thank you for joining us. I really appreciate it. You know your stuff when it comes to March Madness, so that's always appreciated. Over to Zach.
Yeah, so I'm just going to touch on a topic that we didn't really get to, but just best bracket of all time. I would probably have to go between 2016 and 2018. Like
Yeah.
we said, 2018 was
By
just
far.
ridiculous, Loyola Chicago. And 2016, like I said before, that was the buzzer beater championship. So I would just
There were a
probably-
lot of good games in that one, too.
Yeah.
So
we've definitely had some, especially recently, we've had some good March Madness
Yep.
tournaments.
I would argue last year was really fun, too, with
Yeah.
how much chaos there was.
Very true. Yep.
I'm going to ruin all the basketball talk. We've only talked about basketball today. I'll go football. I am going to put out a just big kind of hot take already for next year's NFL season. I think the Arizona Cardinals are going to make the playoffs. They've got 2 first-round draft picks this year. They're going to hopefully get Marv at 4 unless they get a boatload of picks from Minnesota for J.J. McCarthy. They got another pick at the bottom of the first round and then an early pick in the second round. I like what they've done in free agency. I like the coaching staff. Although I'm not a big Kyler Murray fan, I think they can really make some noise here in the NFC.
We shall see. And thank you for joining us today on 91.7 The Edge WSTW Whitewater and on UWW-TV for our March Madness. What became like a play-by-play show was certainly a lot of fun. Saw one of the biggest comebacks in recent memory, at least, that I can remember.
I'm so upset.
And some of us are not happy about it. Others are ecstatic. So
We're back.
we are so back, and
So
we are going to
back.
go back home to watch more because the next slate of games is starting. So thank you all for joining us. Have a great spring break. We will be not on next week, but the week after, and we'll see you then.